ready. Hey, what's going on, fam? Happy Friday Eve. Oh my goodness, we are excited for today.
Yes, we is.
I like that we call it Friday Eve too.
Oh,
Can y'all hear that good? Y'all hear that music?
Yes.
I thought I took it back a little bit. Yo, it's crazy like what's throwbacks now. Like for real.
I know, right?
It's crazy what's throwbacks now. This was jam, man. And he's from FAMU.
Making me feel a little senior.
It makes you feel
I know, right?
Oh.
And he's from FAMU. FAMU's homecoming this weekend. I'm mad I'm not in Tallahassee, but it's all good.
It's a lot of homecomings. Shout out to all the
for real.
Yeah,
Shout out to all the homecomings.
This is the season. Shout out.
It is that season. It is definitely that season. What's up, y'all?
Making some shares. Yo.
Say what's up in the comments, y'all.
Let's get it. Hey, I'm sharing out. Yo, go tag somebody. Let somebody know that Kickin for a Cause is alive. And we are rolling.
Yes.
Hey.
Remember, sharing is caring. So go ahead, click that little share button. Take 2 seconds. So we can, because this conversation, y'all, this is a super important conversation. So please hit that share button because we got some important info that we gonna be discussing.
Right, I'm right.
This
is my joint too, man.
Very, very important.
Yo, I'm so excited because we got some great guests. Thank you, Kelly, for finding these amazing women.
I know. Shout out to Kelly for this one.
Spit some truth.
I mean, and shout out to just them being our first guest ever on the show. Like a huge milestone for us. Look at that, y'all. We special. We got whole guests.
We got whole guests on the show. We moving on up. We moving on up.
And guess what?
Yeah.
I meant to tell you, and speaking of this too, because we're gonna get into community tea and we're talking about the job fair that they're having. But I was down at Slate this week and actually talked with the executive director Frederica McGlown, and I told her about Kicking It for a Cause. I told her like, yo, we're gonna probably love to hear from you one day, in the future. But yo, she's doing great things, and she was just at a ribbon cutting and stuff. So I'm excited for her to do time. So yo. New Flame, hey. This is my jam back in the day. Like I like this one too. This is back in the day as well.
Yeah.
Hey.
And that don't right? away though. Back in the day, it didn't to me that song. But time is different.
I'm like, dang, it's back in the
What is up, y'all? I see y'all. What's going on? How y'all feeling today?
Yo,
it's Thursday.
I'm about to join y'all too.
Almost the weekend.
I know, right? I'm about to join you guys on Facebook as well. Check everything. I see we got some folks tuning in. Hey, share this with your people. Let folks know that we are live and we're doing this. So excited.
We having a great conversation. Vaccine. Did y'all get vaxxed?
Here we go.
How they vax.
You vaxxed?
Vax that thing up.
Are you worried about getting vaxxed?
Not even get started on that because I did not.
Did you just say vax that thing up?
Yeah, have you seen that?
You ain't heard that?
I saw that crazy commercial. I cannot believe. I wonder how much that check was.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, how much
they got some coin for that?
That was definitely a check associated with that.
That was a lot. And literally, what did they say? Meet the people who they are. That is definitely what that was.
It probably got a lot of people vaccinated too, though. They probably did.
Yeah, it spread it out there too. But I just like, I don't know. I'm over the gimmicks like that. I guess that's my thing too. Is just like why do you have to associate a gimmick? Oh, don't get me started on gimmicks for the Black community because we do it to ourselves too. I.e., Wakanda forever.
Accountability, y'all. We gotta hold ourselves accountable.
And that's exactly why we're having this talk today.
So, y'all ready? Y'all ready to get into this tea?
I'm ready. Let's get it.
I'm ready for the tea.
All right, Alan. So, what's the tea?
Okay, well, in the tea that I have is actually about jobs. What's the community tea? It's actually about jobs. So, yo, Slate, that's the St. Louis Agency for Training and Employment. They are actually having a series of job fairs going on throughout the holiday season. I don't know if Vanna has it. Vanna, you able to load that up on the screen?
Oh, give me a minute. I forgot all about that. Keep talking.
Oh, no problem. Hey, we'll bring it back. But,
Yeah.
hey, speaking of jobs, Kelly. So they're having a series of job fairs all throughout the month of November into December for the holiday. We're going to share some information on there. I mean, it's tons of different employers that are going to be hiring. A lot of times they do it on the spot. Like, so, hey,
oh, wow.
you definitely want to share this with somebody, somebody that's looking for a job. Hey, folks are definitely looking to get hired. Like, yo, even the Panera out by my job in like De Pere, they had to shut down the drive-through. Like, I'm guessing because they don't have enough workers. And they have a huge sign saying, "Join us, come work." Like,
everywhere.
I've seen so many signs saying
now
hiring. Yeah, I think that's like literally everywhere right now that everyone is hiring.
Crazy, right?
I seen it. I don't know who it was. The fast food restaurant I think was paying $15 an hour. I was like, wow.
I just saw Amazon's ad online too. They hire on the spot. Like, they do just like truth be told, if you get in, if you could pass their little minor things, you're in there. And they're starting at $15 an hour. And they also say, depending on cost of living, they definitely, arrange through that. And so, real big thing.
Cool.
I know, speaking of jobs, like new jobs going to definitely be coming. Kelly, you shared some crazy information, which was kind of dope, that they're about to put a Target with mixed housing in Midtown.
Yeah.
What did it say, like Gratiot Street and something like that? I don't know. Yeah. You got some details on that, Kels?
Just south of Grand, south of SLU. I mean, on Grand. We talking like a $60 million investment, y'all. And apparently Target, however you want to pronounce it. Apparently they're doing this thing throughout the country where they're kind of like shrinking their, I guess, store sizes, because usually they're like hell big, but to make sure that they fit in more densely populated areas, they're kind of coming smaller. So yeah, we're gonna have another Target in the city, y'all.
I sense a different one.
I'm coming. I'm gonna go back and look. I got you.
You're good.
I heard you. I got you.
Okay, I'm like, wait a minute.
I know. I don't know. That's what the one that's pulled up for some odd reason. But yeah, Target in housing, all in one.
Yeah. What is it? A multi-use development, luxury apartments, and Target.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hey, that's what we doing.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
I'm trying to think the site that they're at. Like, it's gonna be crazy. So, they're doing that. So that's gonna definitely combat IKEA. Like, that's bringing IKEA competition into the. I'm gonna be very interested in seeing that. Oh my gosh, I just thought of some other tea though.
Oh, come on with the tea. I love the tea.
So I don't know if y'all remember I don't know if it was last show or the show before last. I was talking about the Gospel Music Hall of Fame. An old church, the old cathedral. Yo, the tower was on fire a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
And I want to say it's owned by, dang it, I can't remember who it's owned by. But it's owned by some like development corporation. It's so crazy how they just hold stuff and just let stuff. But it's a historic building, so that has an excuse. Yeah. But all these different developers just be holding things, just waiting. And right now, the housing market in St. Louis, I'm hearing is like crazy. Like DJ Envy on the Breakfast Club was talking about he was coming to look for some spots in St. Louis because he was hearing that now's the time to buy in St. Louis.
No
and I'm just like,
they got money.
No comment.
Right, right.
Don't get me started.
Right. And they mean the city. They mean the city. They talk about all these rehabs, in the mid to almost north. There it goes. In the mid to almost north area, northwest area. Like,
because that's most of a lot of these properties, they're not local people that purchase these properties. It's folks from the state.
That's the problem. Shout out to Sharon for watching with us. She said Target is her favorite store.
Hey.
They got everything, but you mess around, you go into Target, boy, you like, okay, I know I'm gonna get this, that, and the third. Then you leave and you done spend like $100. Like what?
It adds up very quickly. It does.
Every single time.
It does. It adds up very quickly, man. I swear. And just to go back, this is what we're showing now is the flyer for the Slate hiring fair that's in
oh wow,
all those different dates: October 25th, November 2nd, November 10th, and they got different places. They got Walmart. They got ad staffing, Challenge Unlimited, so many different Bon Appetit.
By state, City of St. Louis is going to be there. Yep, City of St. Louis, Delmar Gardens. What? Challenge? Yeah, you said Challenge Unlimited. What is Challenge Unlimited?
We will definitely post that. Sharon said, "Can we send this to her?"
Yep.
So we will definitely post
this.
Yes, ma'am. Some resources out there. But yeah, they out here holly jolly holiday hiring fair.
I love it.
I love it. Get them coins.
Get them coins. They're needed. I wanted to share something. Speaking about the beautiful city of St. Louis. So I don't know if people are aware of this or not, but the city of St. Louis is gonna have like a whole new look, a whole new map, y'all. So
whoa, really?
Are not.
Are you talking about the districting?
Yeah. So every 10 years, everywhere people, you have the redistricting or the drawing of new boundary lines after the census every 10 years. This ain't new. But what makes this an interesting process this go around in the city of St. Louis is that our wards are going to be reduced from 28 to 14.
Girl, what?
So, yeah, so the voters voted to reduce the wards 14 10 years ago. So, to amend the charter. And if it's in the charter, you got to do that because it's the law now. So basically, the Board of Aldermen had till the end of the year to get that stuff done. And I wanted to say the first draft of this map will be publicly available on Monday. So, that'll be interesting, and they're going to follow that up with opportunities for the public to weigh in on how they feel about this drafted new map for the city of St. Louis on Tuesday and Wednesday evening.
Doesn't that affect a lot, though? Don't that affect like representatives and money distributing factors?
It impacts your representation, who represents you, how much power you have. It's a lot. So so be sure, if you haven't already, follow Evolve at 314 Evolve on all the social media platforms, because I will be sharing that map as well as the flyer providing the public comment, public input opportunities. I think it's next Tuesday and Wednesday evening via Zoom. So it's gonna be interesting. It's already
definitely gonna be interesting because
it's already getting a little spicy.
Yes. What's up, y'all? What's up? Say hey, and y'all know we in this space of the community tea. If y'all got some community tea, please share.
Yes.
We getting all the info to our folks, right?
Yeah, because sharing is caring. Sharing is
caring. Right.
Yes,
we trying to just care all around. STL.
Hey, well, and I'm excited for like what we're about to share.
314 Evolve.
Yes.
Okay. That's it, girl. Go follow. Make sure you following.
Yes, please.
And I don't really have much of community tea, other than just the Hood Talks podcast did live stream the conversation that Proud put together around learning how your government works, specifically to Ferguson. It was really a dope space, a dope conversation, a dope presentation, whatever you want to call it. I definitely was able to learn a couple of gems. Like, let me drop some. The mayor of Ferguson ain't got that much power.
Wait, say that again. Say that
The
again.
mayor of Ferguson ain't got that much power. So I'm gonna leave them and let up off her because she ain't the issue. She can't make nothing shake. So yeah, I definitely will be trying to sit down and have a conversation with my community. My city manager, because that's important. I know who has the power. I need to say, hey, bruh, know me, how you doing? I live here. So again, but I think that was a really great conversation because we do need to know our local governments.
Yes.
We need to make sure we know who these people are who hold the power in our communities, and we need to tap in and utilize them for our community and for ourselves. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm definitely going to get out here and get to sending him a message to learn him or talk to him or engage with him. And I hope you guys do the same. So please go look at that video. Even if you're not in Ferguson, learn about how Ferguson is operating. And maybe you can also learn or figure out how to learn how your government is operating, because local government is more important in a sense than Biden. I'm just say that. And that's my community, T. Yeah. Anything else, y'all? Or y'all ready to get into this?
I'm excited about this.
Let's get it. I'm ready.
All right, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all sharing. We definitely want to make sure that we are getting this great information out to our folks. So please share this live, tag some friends in the comments and tell them come listen to this, come get y'all questions answered. We're providing the opportunity to get that done in a safe space, because we consider Kicking It for a call a safe space. So we want y'all to come answer the question, get y'all questions answered about COVID and the vaccine, and we got some people that can bring y'all the facts. So y'all ready to bring our guests on?
Yes, let's bring them on, please.
Yes.
Let's get it.
Hello. Welcome you all. Thank you all for being here.
Hey.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We're super excited for you all to be here and ready for you all to give us all the good info that our community needs to hear about COVID and the vaccine, and get our questions answered, because I know I got some questions.
Oh, but really quickly, so people know who we are. So if you all could please formally introduce yourselves to the Kicking It for a Cause family. So go ahead, get into it.
Sure, I'll start. My name is Rhonda Ballou. I am a professor and chair of health management and policy at St. Louis University. And we are working on a grant project funded by HRSA in collaboration with Better Family Life. If anybody doesn't know what Better Family Life, they're an organization right on the Page corridor that serves mostly African-American families and provides social services. And they also have a workforce development. So in talking about, the community tea and jobs, look them up. They have youth programs and other things. And we're working with them to kind of get the word out about COVID vaccinations, because areas in North City and South City, but primarily North City, have been the hardest hit by COVID and have the lowest vaccination rate, and the African American community has been the most affected by COVID, including morbidity and mortality. And I'll also give a shout out to Kelly, because she's been working with me and my students for the past couple of years on different community events and addressing obesity among women in North County. And so we're just thankful for the work that you do.
Yeah, shout out to Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead. Who's next? Tell us who you are.
Okay. I guess I'll go. Hello, my name is Sosan Salah. I got my master's in public health at St. Louis University as well. Or not as well, but I got my master's at St. Louis University. And since then, I've done community work within the St. Louis area. And I'm currently the project manager for the project that Dr. Blue was talking about through the HRSA grant, where we're doing COVID education within the St. Louis area. That was very brief.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
I'm Claire Schuchart. I've been a registered nurse since 2019. I've worked at Christian Hospital and St. Mary's. And I am currently getting my MPH at St. Louis University, and I work full-time on this grant as well.
Claire's also a nurse. She worked at Christian and also works at volunteers at CHIPS. And CHIPS is another resource for, has anybody been to CHIPS and know the fabulously awesome Mrs. Bentley?
I'm telling you, everything.
Yeah,
I don't
Mrs.
see how
Bentley is a force of nature.
Big
CHIPS
fact.
is a volunteer-free clinic north of SLU on Grand. They have really great programs. Like they have this program for youth, and they have youth that do like theater-based health education on HIV, mental health. That's another, just a community resource for anybody out there that maybe doesn't have insurance and all that. So, and Miss, I don't know, give a shout out to Mrs. Bentley. She's the founder of the clinic, and she's been working it for decades. She's outstanding. So.
Thank you for sharing that. Again, for folks, sharing is caring. That's what we're here for. That's what we all about. So I'm gonna jump right into this real quick, because basically the reason why we're even having this conversation is because of the foolery that is just being like spread out here about all this. It's just a whole bunch of mess you hear every day out here. You see it on social media about stuff. You don't know if it's true. You don't know if it's not true with regards to COVID-19, these vaccines. So, some of these misconceptions. I know one of the things that I would like for you all to speak to is just the safety of vaccines. So I know, I attend a lot of painful local governmental meetings. St. Louis County Council is it's sad, but notoriously known for, during their public comment time, folks spewing all this stuff, everything just wrong and just misinformation. YouTube pulls them down because of the misinformation spewed. So I know one of the things that they mentioned a lot, especially this past Tuesday, was how unsafe it is to get vaccinated. So it's like, why should we get vaccinated when you can have this whole list of adverse health outcomes and also potentially die? So why should I get the vaccine if I'm probably gonna die from getting the vaccine instead of, just trying to manage COVID? So can you all kind of talk through that as well, as far as the safety of the vaccines?
Sure. And also start by saying, we've been working on vaccine communication education for a while, and as part of this grant, and there were no deaths related to the vaccine during the clinical trial for any of the vaccines. So during the trials for Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and Moderna, nobody died as a result of the vaccine. There were individuals that died of other, so you all have watched those direct consumer commercials for drugs, where it says, oh, you have eczema, and here's our drug name, whatever, some name. And if you take it, your hair might fall out, you might go blind, well, all the other things that they say down there. So when they list those side effects, they have to list anything that happened to anybody during the clinical trial, whether it was related to the treatment or not. But there were no vaccine-related deaths in any of the trials. Like, nobody died from the vaccine and the Pfizer and the Moderna or the Johnson & Johnson. I see there's a question.
Yeah, she says that my pregnant clients are concerned. They said they read it's not safe in the first trimester. However, it's safe after that. Says it can cause miscarriages if taken too early. Is that true?
No, it's not true. They have done, because a lot of times when they're doing these trials, they don't necessarily enroll pregnant women just because they're a sensitive group. They're worried about it, but they have watched very, very carefully as the vaccine has rolled out. Women that became pregnant just after taking the vaccine, women that were pregnant and didn't know it when they got the vaccine, women that were later in pregnancy that elected to get the vaccine. They watched those people very carefully to detect, a safety signal from them. And from the data that we have right now, which is thousands and thousands of pregnant women by now, it is safe in pregnancy. It's not going to harm your fertility. And the thing that I think is really the most important to remember as far as pregnant women is that COVID is crazy, crazy dangerous if you're pregnant. You can die very, very, very easily, and it can seriously harm your baby. And so, that's why they looked at the data that they've got, and that's why they do recommend it for pregnant women now, is because they really looked at the risks and they looked at the benefits, and they were, it very, very clearly fell on the side of benefit, and that's throughout pregnancy.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I wanted to add a little bit to that because I had someone actually make a comment earlier about this when I was talking to them. They were saying that why is it acceptable for pregnant women to take the vaccine when it's not acceptable for children to take the vaccine, or younger children in a sense to take the vaccine?
It's just they haven't done it's the trial information. I mean, we anticipate that they will have vaccine for the younger children that will come out. And also back to the pregnancy, if you actually get COVID and you have a high fever is dangerous in terms of miscarriage and birth defects in your first trimester. So if you actually get a fever and you're 1 to 3 months pregnant, it could be problematic in terms of actually having COVID and COVID fevers. Even speaking from my own experience, early in the pandemic, I had COVID. I had no idea even how I got it because I wore a mask and was being safe all the time. And I had a 103-degree fever that caused me to pass out and free fall into my bathtub and had to go to the hospital just because of potentially a skull fracture. But a high fever, even from the flu or from COVID, is could damage a fetus.
Well,
I had a question. I actually have two. One of them, first one is, I was listening to the Breakfast Club this morning, and on front page news, they were discussing, now I don't know if this was just in like New York or if this was a national like CDC recommendation. I don't know, but they were discussing a possible 4th dose for people with high, with low immune low immune response. Is that true? Have you all heard anything talking about a 4th? And then also they were talking about the difference between a dose and a booster. Are those two different things?
Yeah. That's a really, really good question, actually. I haven't heard anything about a 4th dose yet. I'll address actually the booster versus the 3rd dose first, because that kind of plays into, I think, what they would decide to do. So a 3rd dose is when you need another dose of the vaccine to increase your level of immunity, right? So the 3rd dose of the vaccine could be considered more of a 3rd dose, so to speak, for, people who are severely immunocompromised, people for whom the vaccine did wear off very quickly because their immune systems just don't have the power to produce those antibodies, produce that memory. But a booster is for, it's a more general term for kind of just topping you off, so to speak. It's going to trip your body into remembering, what happened, but it's not necessarily required to complete your immune response like a 3rd dose would be. So in terms of like a 4th dose, that would they will look at that again, once some people have gotten 3rd doses, and they're kind of looking especially at those sensitive groups, people that are at high risk, and they'll kind of watch and see how their bodies, retain that memory from the vaccine, and then they'll kind of make a decision on whether they should start trials for another dose for them.
And Claire was a nurse in the COVID unit when, during February, March, April.
Wow.
of 2020. So she saw a lot of COVID patients.
All the way through, actually.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, can you give us an insight on what it looked like for you? Because I think that's another perspective that a lot of us don't get to hear or see. So if you don't mind, kind of giving us a feel of like what that looked like for you being in that space.
Yeah, I mean, early in the pandemic, 2020, spring of 2020, it was. I was working more on like in a med surge kind of situation. So like patients who are not critical care, they're not that sick. And there we were seeing a lot of people who were older, 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And it wasn't so much, what you typically think of like the respiratory distress, can't breathe. It was just, they just kind of faded away. They stopped eating, they would refuse to eat. And that's why their families would bring them in because, they were just not kind of responding to, anymore to them. And that was kind of how, it went early on. But when I moved to critical care in the fall of that year, it was much more of your typical, like what you think of as, the COVID unit. People just going up and up and up on their oxygen. And, we have different things that we can move them to as they require more oxygen. And they just their oxygen saturation just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. So, one of the things that we really try to do is keep them out of the ICU, keep them from being intubated, because once they're intubated, your chances of survival, if you're young and you're healthy, are about 50%. They're not great. So, and a lot of our patients, obviously,
You slid over that. Wait a minute. You said a healthy person has a 50% chance.
Yeah, someone who is healthy, no comorbidities. If they get COVID and they get that sick, it's about 50%. And if they have comorbidities, if they're overweight, if they have diabetes, if they have kidney disease, all of those things, it's pretty much a death sentence. There's not a lot that we can do. And that it's really hard to watch. It went from like early in the pandemic, it was terrifying. I've never been more afraid in my life. But later, it's heartbreaking because, and especially in the setting of vaccination, because, back in the back of our minds, this could have been prevented and we could save these lives. And it's so frustrating, because we're doing everything that we can. And it's a terrible, terrible disease.
Well, really quick, I just want to say thank you for that work, and for anyone else that's out there that's working in the healthcare field. Like, seriously, thank you for what it is that you are doing, putting, yourself as well, at risk and caring for others. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. That's really nice.
Yeah, I can only imagine being in that space. And dealing with what you're dealing with, seeing all the deaths and all the people sick, and like you said, there's nothing you can do. The family's hurting and pain. So, yeah.
I have something.
Go ahead, AP.
How do you help calm the, not necessarily naysayers, but the people that are saying that, we don't trust especially in the Black community, especially some of the intellectual Blacks too, will be like, the Tuskegee will mention, what's her name? I can't help me. What's her name? Yep. Thank you so much. There we go. They'll mention things like that. When it comes to that, they'll mention, you never know what anyone's putting in. Like, how do you help calm those?
I can answer a little bit. First, it's like, well, if you probably should be more afraid of what would happen in the hospital if you got hospitalized from COVID in terms of mistrust and medical errors and things like that than the vaccine, right? So I would rather, if you're talking about
that part, yes,
like,
that part.
Going to the hospital is just a place you don't want to be. Aside from the historical medical racism and things like that are true, right? So those things are true, right? So those feelings come from a history of truth. But I would much rather take my chances with the vaccination than take my chances of actually being in the hospital, right? In terms of if you feel like you might be, subject to, there's some mistrust issues, or you might be subject to discrimination or things. I would take, rather take the shot than end up getting hospital care. But we actually have a website that Sosan and Claire and we all worked on, and my other colleague Kelly Taylor, she's been on the forefront of vaccine communication strategies and contact tracing for the African American community in California, and she's been working with us as well. She's at UC San Francisco. But we've featured all of the Black scientists that have actually created this vaccination. So there are a number of Black scientists that were involved, which is not the case with Tuskegee and some of the previous atrocities and the Henrietta Lacks and Hylocels and all of that. You had African Americans that helped develop these vaccines. And we also have the clinical trial data, and it shows that, there's no, in terms of deaths, like I said, there were not any vaccine related deaths, but even in terms of adverse reactions that people may have had, there's no difference between any race or ethnic group in terms of outcomes or, soreness or whatever outcomes people may have from any vaccination. So, and also, another myth is that, okay, we don't want to take this vaccination because they made it too fast. And this trial had, more participants. This is a worldwide effort than other trials have had. And they've been working on coronavirus related vaccines since SARS back in the early 2000s. So it's not like they started anywhere from, they started from nowhere and they didn't know anything about a coronavirus. This is just a certain type of coronavirus. And SARS, that was also, zoonotic or bat-borne virus. It was more deadly and way more virulent, but it didn't transmit itself very well. So it just kind of petered out, just kind of drifted out. Whereas the thing about COVID-19, it's really good at transmitting itself, right? So that's kind of the problem with it. It transmits itself and it mutates and it transmits itself really well, which is why it's so frightening. But people have been working on coronavirus related vaccines and that vaccine structure and this new technology for a long time. And there were no steps that were skipped in the process. And when I'm fully vaccinated. I've had 2 doses of Moderna. I'm waiting for that booster when it comes out. I want to jump right up and get it. And I just think about, I'm multiple decades old. Oldest one on here. I have vaccines that are like 50 years old. 50 years ago, I have vaccines and I'm like, they couldn't even keep labs, they didn't have lab cleaning technology like they do now. And so if you think about how far vaccine technology has come in the past 15, 20 years and what they're able to do compared to vaccines that people had, when they were born, we've really come a long way in terms of being able to create vaccine technology. So, but the bottom line, I would rather, if you're thinking about medical errors or bad things happening to you during the process of medical care, think about the vaccine versus being in the hospital for however many days or months. I mean,
and also the hospitals right now are like they're kind of like busy in a sense, so they're not really going to have time to cater to you like you would want to.
Yeah, no, they're not at all.
Yeah.
I wanted to provide some like numerical context to what Dr. Ballou said. So when she said like more people participated in these trials, like for the COVID vaccine trials, more than like 30,000 volunteers for like each have participated in like each trial, as compared to for other vaccines where it's been like as little as 3,000. So it's a huge the volunteerism size is like completely different. And then to add on to the efforts of like Black Americans that have contributed to the vaccine, the 4 HBCU med schools were vaccine trial sites. And so there was Black representation from from the background side where you're creating, doing the science and stuff, and creating the vaccine all the way down to actually being a part of the trial and to see the effects. So
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh,
I think it was like maybe uh like 13% of Black people kind of contributing to the Pfizer.
yeah, which is representative of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
okay, okay. On well, kind of another kind of question. Do you all think that this will probably be approached like the flu shot? Like, do you think that like every year we're gonna need to re-up, like, get another dose or something, or get another booster? Or I mean, what's I guess what's the talk kind of on you guys' side when it comes to how long we're going to be in this, or how long we're going to need, how long vaccines will probably be needed to continue to fight this thing?
Yeah. So the goal with the vaccine, and I think this is a common misconception too. Like, the goal with the vaccine is to prevent you from getting severely ill. It's to prevent you from getting, respiratory distress, ending up in the hospital. But basically, that's our big goal with the vaccine. And so the hope is that we'll be able to get this disease to the point where it's a little bit tamer, where we have a broad immunity through vaccination, through people that have already had it. So when you get it, it'll be more like a cold, a mild flu. You'll have a few symptoms, you'll stay home for a day, and you'll be okay. And so that being the goal, then the hope is that, we won't need annual boosters. Like the flu shot, we'll have to keep looking at the data. We'll have to keep, kind of monitoring how people do, the COVID rates, and how severely people are getting sick. But the goal would be that with 2 shots, maybe a booster, you'll be okay for a long time.
Okay. And with the younger people out there, because they're outside, they're at big events with a lot of people, they're not wearing masks, justifying that COVID isn't real. Like, they're trying to justify that COVID's not real because I don't wear a mask and I'm fine. Like, how do we reach them? Like, a vaccine is one of the first things from their mind. Like, our generation is getting it. Of course, the older generation has got it. The older generation, they swear by it. Like, how do we really, like, and not even make vaccines cool, but like, how do we really get these young folks on board? Like, I'm talking like the 18, 24-year-olds, under 25. Like, how do we really get them on board?
I think that the answer has to come from those that have gotten vaccinated. So I think, really kind of getting some youth together. I mean, you have a lot of vaccinated 18-year-olds that are required to get a vaccine to go to school. I have an 18-year-old and they would not let her in school. I mean, even a lot of the HBCUs, they say you got to get vaccinated or you can't come on campus. And so I think that, not every 18 to 25-year-old is in that situation, but it is kind of like that transition period where, you have to start thinking about your own health care. You've not thought about it. It may have been your parent or guardian's responsibility to think about your health care. You never really had to think about it before. And now you're independent and you need to think about your overall health and well-being in general. And I think that I don't think that, they need to listen to auntie. They're going to listen to auntie to tell them, like me, you need to go get your vaccine. They probably want to listen to each other or to their peers. And so I think they really need to make some effort to get some other 18 to 24-year-olds who did make that decision to say, because, there are folks, a lot of folks that are asymptomatic, but you could be asymptomatic and then you can come home and give it to your grandmother. So I think that even though if you've been able to kind of go around without a mask during the pandemic, because maybe you've been an asymptomatic carrier or you just happen to not, catch COVID, that doesn't mean that you've not transmitted it to somebody else and even unknowingly. So, but I think that the answer has to come from that group. I think it's it has to come from within that same generation. So I don't really have an answer, but I think that, older folks telling them you really need a vaccine for X, Y, and Z reason, is not going to resonate as, their own peers saying, hey, I got the vaccine, I'm okay. It didn't do anything to me. And I was afraid, that I was going to transmit this to my grandma or to my mom. And I think that it needs to come from the voice of their peers.
Gotcha. Okay. My last question probably, and because I know I got y'all get me talking. I don't know, Vanna, do y'all have anything? I do have one more, but do y'all have anything? Okay, no. Okay, cool. I'm because I'm looking at the time. I'm like, okay, we're gonna. But my last question: your thoughts on mandates? Like, do you all really think that mandates need to be placed to help? Like, I would love you guys' just like final thoughts as my final question. Your thoughts on mandates?
That's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. I mean, there are mandates. I mean, everybody here has gone through elementary and high school. Everybody on the call, and you couldn't go to elementary or high school without all of your childhood vaccines, right? So there are historically been vaccine mandates, right? So this vaccine just became politicized for a number of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that people need to disentangle the vaccine from the politics. But this is not the first time that there's been a vaccine mandate. There hasn't been a pandemic like this since the Spanish flu, but we've lived with vaccine mandates. I mean, I remember when seatbelts first came around. I mean, I'm not that old. I got seatbelts when I was born, but back when they were just had seatbelts, people didn't want to wear seatbelts either, right? When they say you had to wear a seatbelt or you get a ticket, people kind of get. Oftentimes they go through those phases. So, I mean, in terms of mandates, I understand people have their freedom to choose not to be vaccinated or not. Some of these issues come up with the flu vaccination in terms of healthcare personnel, where they want all healthcare personnel in a certain facility to have the flu shot so they won't pass it to their immunocompromised patients. And, that's already been a challenge. So I think the mandates are a tough one in this climate, but we certainly have mandates. I mean, nobody here went through high school or elementary school without, the DTaP, the MMR, and all of those other vaccines. There are certain countries you can't go to unless you show your yellow fever card, right? Yeah. So vaccine mandates exist to do certain things, but perhaps not as broad. But if you're a private organization, it's just like I can't go to the store with no shirt on either, right? Like so there are certain things that are expected and mandated. If we talk about vaccines, we could also talk about mask mandates. You have to wear a shirt, no shoes, no service. And people are now saying no shirt, no mask, no shoes, no service. So, things are mandated all the time. And if you are a private business or you are a government facility, you can make decisions on, the criteria by which people can use your services. So, and if we kind of, renege on those things, you're looking at a number of issues in terms of, well, I don't want to get vaccinated, but I also want to come up in your facility. I want to smoke cigarettes too. I mean, so there's no smoking mandates, and there's a lot of mandates, and I just think that we just really need to think about why it's being done, and why we feel like this particular mandate is a violation to our freedom when there are hundreds of other mandates that we abide by every day. I can't go up and down the 40 or 64 or driving 150 miles per hour because I feel like it's my freedom to do so, because that's how fast my car will go. There's a speed limit and I'm mandated to drive within that speed limit or I have a consequence. So I think that we need to think about what is it about this particular vaccination that makes people feel like they have a loss of liberty.
Yeah, it is like difficult though, I'll say, in like a country that we live in where people value their freedom of choice. But I think sometimes that gets confused with like, you also have a responsibility to take care, or I guess not take care of, but like you shouldn't be causing harm to other people. And so when you're spreading a disease like this where you can put other people on harm's way, I feel like your freedom of choice sort of needs to be more considerate of those around you. So yeah, it's just really hard to, I guess, in the political climate, like Dr. Blue was saying, like to just sort of say like, yeah, this has to be done, because I don't want to bring in all the politics associated with this, but you've had political leaders who, have said that like that's, we shouldn't be doing that. So it's just, in terms of like feasibility of like mandating it, I don't know how that would look, but we definitely need to be holding other people accountable for getting others sick too.
That's awesome. That's
I mean,
awesome.
The last thing I would say too is you are going to either get COVID or be vaccinated. You will get COVID with how contagious Delta is. It's absolutely inevitable. So, just really make sure that you get the right information. It may kind of a mandate, I think, sets a lot of people's backs up. They get defensive where they might not have been, at the idea of that. But make sure you get good information and make a really informed decision, because this is a very contagious disease and you're going to get it.
Gotcha. Thank you guys. Like, I don't know, Vanna, did you have anything? Because I did it. I know I said that was my last question.
I know. I just wanted to know, like, how does the vaccine not help not to spread? Because I think too, you guys were kind of hitting on like, if you get the vaccine, if you don't get the vaccine, you're spreading it and all of that. I guess some people might want to get that info of like, well, how does it really help if I do get it?
I mean, you can still spread it. You could still be, you could still spread it, but you're not, you don't have as, if you have the vaccine, and Claire, you can correct me because you're the clinician, you're not replicating as much virus in your system to spread it around.
Okay.
Right. So if you're unvaccinated, you don't have those you don't have that signaling in your body to like shut the virus down. So you're not just replicating as much.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I just want to clarify that for the people.
You're not shedding as much virus. Am I correct, Claire?
Yeah, absolutely. Your body fights, it's going to shut it down before.
So where it's not as spreadable as if you didn't have the vaccine. Exactly. And your body is trying to learn how to fight it off.
Yeah, you can still spread it. I mean, right. You can still spread it, but you're not, you're
not producing as much in a sense.
Yes.
So like say, for instance, if you were vaccinated, as soon as your body finds that it has it in it, it's going to go attack it. But if you don't get vaccinated and your body you get COVID, your body is having to learn how to fight it. So then it's going to continue to make. And by that time, it may be too late for your body to learn how to fight it off, and you're spreading it to more people, and you might be getting more sick. So I just wanted to clear that for the people in the back, because they probably would have heard that and be like, she said I'm spreading it. Yeah, but we cleared that up. You can still spread it, but not as badly as if you didn't.
We have information on vaccine development and African Americans. And again, I mean, African Americans have died the most and have been the most affected in St. Louis. And that's just my concern. And we need to do something about that. So we do have information on, African American involvement in the vaccine and the different stats. And I will say that, there are tens of thousands of deaths due to medical error per year that happen in hospital settings, which is really, I would be more terrified to go into the hospital in terms of inequities and racism and just the busyness of the hospitals now and things like that. Even getting the very, very best care by the most caring nurses and doctors, a hospital's just a challenging place to be. I would, take my chances with the vaccination over being hospitalized at any time.
Yes. So really quick to kind of round this out, for folks, if they have additional questions, wants, some more information or resources, are there any reputable sources, websites, anything that you would suggest folks check out that provides accurate information?
Yes, I would suggest that you go and you look at the city of St. Louis. Dr. Maddie Hatch-Slagle-Davis is the director, Dr. Fred Eccles. They're both Black folk that are in charge public health in St. Louis and to go look at the COVID hotline and the COVID website for the city of St. Louis. You have 2 Black folk running health for the city and the mayor, right? So trust those sources, and they are still having vaccination clinics. So definitely look at the city of St. Louis website, and or the county if you live in the county as well, and you can look at the CDC and those kind of reputable .gov sources. Just be aware of drbobs.com COVID information, right? I mean, just kind of stick to some of those city government and local government, even the state website can provide you information. And it's you can get a shot for free, right? You can get you can go to Walgreens, you can go to CVS. The health department has shots. We will be doing some vaccination clinics at some barber shops and beauty shops in the North City area, and we will be partnering with Better Family Life to bring the City Health Department mobile vaccine clinic out there over in that Page Corridor area to provide vaccine and vaccine education. So back in March, it was like the vaccine Hunger Games. We didn't have enough vaccine. It was almost impossible to get it. And actually people were going into the Black neighborhoods to get that. You go into the Black neighborhoods and nobody Black would be in the vaccine line.
I heard that. Yep. That they was going outside of their areas.
Yeah. Getting to get the vaccine. And so, but people crazy. From the community were not getting the vaccine. But the Omega Center, the Omega Center has hosted vaccine events for the African American community. So a vaccine is available and it's easy to get now. So, and
that's perfect.
Yeah. Bring a friend. If bring a friend, get them vaccinated too. But if you are nervous about it, go and bring somebody with you and go to Walgreens and get you a vaccine.
The other really, really great resource is called The Conversation. It's usually, I think on the website, it's in Spanish, La Conversación, and it's designed specifically for communities of color. And they have, Black doctors, Black scientists that talk about, all of these commonly asked questions, any concerns that you have, short video clips. They're really, really good. Check them out.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that.
Hey, Vanna, can you put that website on the screen? Oh, you got it. There you go.
Yay!
Yo, it was so great. Thank you, guys. Like, this was so great. And you actually just answered my last question. I was gonna ask, if you guys, if who's out in the community, where can we go if someone wants to pull up on somebody and get resources and information? I think you guys shared some great information. Wow.
Yeah, that
thank you.
The conversation is really good because you can actually go and see Black doctors ask about kids, pregnant women, and all that stuff. I mean, you can hear it from
and you can ask about the trials and everything. It'll go into it. Yeah.
And truth be told, this is the conversation that needs to be had. And I think we need to be having more of these conversations. And so, and hopefully, do you all know, your colleagues are open to have these conversations and different things like that? Because if we could really put together some more where we can bring community out to ask questions, in person or, on whatever or whatnot, I think that would be just so amazing just to help kind of continue the conversation.
Yeah, and we can certainly do that. And again, the City Health Department, Dr. Mahdi and Dr. Eccles are really outstanding resources in turn, for the Black community and understand equity issues. They are outstanding, and Better Family Life has been dedicated to serving that Page Corridor community, and they're partnering with us. So I think that there's a lot of opportunities for people to hear information and to get the right information. And I'll say one last thing, everybody I think the one thing that bothered me during the pandemic is that everybody's like, oh, wow, Black folk are disproportionately dying and being affected by COVID. I was like, well, that's the same story for everything, and it's not because
Yeah.
there's something different about Black folk. It's more that, okay, they're, it's just, structural disenfranchisement, right? And all of that. And it's the same thing for diabetes and maternal child health outcomes and infant mortality. And it's the same processes and the same factors that are playing out with COVID. So, this is not a new thing. It's the same unfortunate, horrible thing
Yep.
that's now playing out in a new disease.
Yep. Pretty
And
much.
so it's just all of these, and I hope that, and I will say to all the folks on this call and everybody who's out there, to don't sleep on this. Everything that we put in place to get equitable distribution of vaccines and to try to get some equity related to COVID needs to keep going for diabetes, for
Yes.
maternal wellness, for hypertension and everything else that disproportionately affects Black folks. So all of these efforts that we're putting into the Black
Health
community,
equity. We need
yes,
it.
we need to continue to
That part, yes.
to take what we've learned, right? To not, say, okay, well, we finished COVID, we're good. And then to forget all of the stuff that we've learned during COVID and not like rebrand it or repurpose it to address all of these other health issues.
Yeah. Shout out to Sharon. She said it's just hard out here because there's a lot of misinformation about COVID and the vaccine. I get it. It is.
A whole lot.
It definitely is. So thank you all again, man.
Thank you all for
Information, giving us the your time, and all of that, sharing the resources that you all share. I definitely, again, think it's important that we continue these conversations with the factual information. So y'all want to get into the game real quick before we wrap this up, because it was a deep conversation.
It was deep. We
got a lot of info.
We needed it.
Now we need a little fun.
Lighten it up a little bit.
Let's shake it up a little bit. Shout out to all the viewers. Thank y'all for watching and tuning in. We're gonna get into the game time. Again, we appreciate our guests. They're gonna join us.
Yes, we're gonna play the game.
Hey.
Okay, so I thought, since we have a good amount of people, and I was watching Family Feud today, so I was like, let's do a little family. Okay. So this is how we're gonna play it, okay? I'm gonna ask a question. We know, 100 people get interviewed, and I'm looking for the top 5 answers. All right.
Okay.
If you answer something that's not on the list, you're out.
Okay.
Okay.
So we each get an opportunity to answer.
Yes, so everyone will get an opportunity to answer. Huh?
I say, so we're the team, basically.
Yes, you guys are the team. Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
And so, and then the last person standing, we're gonna see if you can get 200 points, like the game. All right.
I've never played that before, so let's see.
All right. I love Family Feud. Family Feud, Price is Right.
Really good.
And yeah. Family Feud and Price is Right, and Wheel of Fortune are my favorite game shows ever. Okay. So since it's Halloween, we might as well get started with a Halloween question.
Oh Lord.
All right. Name something, and we're gonna start with Vanna.
Okay.
All right. Name something associated with vampires.
Fangs. Fangs. I said fangs.
Fangs.
That's number 1.
You're still in. Okay. Kelly, name something associated with vampires.
I don't know. Blood.
Number 2 answer. Get it, Kelly. You're still in. All right. Can you bring the names back up? I'm sorry, because I want to make sure I get you all's names right.
Oh, wait a minute.
Can you bring names back up, Vanna? I think you have to take game time off.
Yep. There we
go. All right. Rhonda, can you name something associated with vampires?
Nighttime.
Is that an answer?
Ooh. I'm gonna let you stay in.
I'm
gonna let you stay in, and I'll tell you why, because it can go 2 ways. Okay. All right. Is it Salson?
Sosin, yeah.
Sosin. All right. Name something associated with vampires.
I can think of two things. I hope it's right. Like one of them works. Like those cloak, like the cloak or cape things that they wear. I don't know.
You're
No?
still in. Okay,
Yay!
wow. I really thought that this was going to take somebody. Okay, Claire, you guys are like perfect. You ready?
Oh,
Name something associated with vampires.
I'm gonna say we took all the answers.
I know. Like, that was everything I could think of.
It's still a couple of good ones on there.
What about
There's some really good ones on there.
coffins?
I would think vampires and coffins.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, coffins is not on here, Claire.
That was gonna
Thank
be
you so much.
Alan.
So, what else is on here? We have so the reason why Rhonda, you're still on, you said nighttime, it was twilight. So I gave it to you because it could have been either or. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take nighttime/twilight versus Twilight the movie. So I'm gonna let you stay.
Thanks.
Garlic.
Oh, that's a good one.
I was thinking pale
Bats.
skin. Was
Bats.
pale skin on there?
I'm sorry.
Pale skin. That was gonna be the other. No. Okay.
Nope.
Glad I didn't say it.
You got it good with the cape. No, that was perfect. I wasn't sure if anyone was going to get the cape.
Can I share?
And
Can I share
guess
for a
what?
moment?
Dracula. I was really surprised no one got Dracula.
Oh.
So that was a good one. Okay.
Hold on, Alan.
Thank you so much.
Can I share
Hold
some
on.
COVID time reading? Can I share some COVID time reading related to vampires?
Yes.
Okay, so my favorite author, she's actually passed away, is Octavia Butler. And the last book she wrote that I don't think a lot of people have read is called Fledgling. And it's a book about vampires and racism and different social issues. So Octavia Butler, she's like one of the first African-American female science fiction writers. You know, she look her up. Now, like kind of she passed away, I think in 2006, but the last book she wrote was called Fledgling. And it's about like kind of race issues in different vampire clans, along with different social issues.
You said Fledgling?
Fledgling, yeah. But look up all of her other books.
So my aunt is like crazy about like she loves everything vampires, and so and she loves to read. So I may get her this. Her birthday's today, so I actually may get her this for her birthday and say, "Hey, check this out. Tell me what you like." My auntie, bye. All right, so that was good. That was good. Okay, let's do another. I got another kind of Halloween one. Okay. So we got 4 people left. So 100 people ask questions in horror movies. Name a place teenagers go where there's always a killer on the loose. Okay? I'll say it again. In horror movies, name a place teenagers go where there's always a killer on the loose. Siobhan, you're first.
I got a lot of them. I watched. I want to go with the first one. I want to go with is Dang, I just had it. Where was that? Okay, I'm gonna go back. To the lake.
The lake.
The water on vacation. I forgot the first one.
Okay, here. We'll do. They have Cabin Camp Woods.
That's the lake.
I will give you the lake for that. Okay, I'll give you the lake. Okay, all right.
That's the water
okay,
and cabins and all that. That's
Yeah.
the lake.
That's like Medea Halloween. Weren't they at the lake in Medea's Halloween movie?
Oh Lord.
Exactly. She understood.
You know what? I've never.
So
crazy. I've never seen either of the Medea Halloween
and
movies.
it's the funniest.
And I've always said I wanted to watch it.
It's the funniest.
They have a part 1 and 2.
Yes, and they're both hilarious.
Yeah, I know. I got a love-hate relationship with Tyler
Me
Perry
too,
as I watched
but
the Oval yesterday.
I feel like
I do too, but the boobs are really funny. So you gotta
Okay, Kills.
Funny.
All right, in horror movies, name a place teenagers go where there's always a killer on the loose. So we got Lake, Cabin Camp Woods.
So I'm gonna say like a haunted house, like a house that's been established that's haunted, or some people got killed in or something.
Unfortunately, Kelly, you went into the haunted house and a ghost got you, and you can no longer. You have to sit out. I am so sorry, but that was a good one. That's a really good one. That was a really good one. Okay, Rhonda, what you think?
Like a what are they like? They always go into some shed with like saws and hammers.
Unfortunately, the saws and hammers were in the wrong door and they took you out. I am so sorry. All right, come on. Urbana's gonna go for big money, even though I don't have any money to give, but still. All right, Sauceson.
So I feel like I don't really watch too many horror movies, but I want to say
Me
like
neither.
big fancy homes. Like there's always something going on. Like the fancier the home, there's always a death or something. I don't know why, but like, is that on there? Like you know how like sometimes people are like babysit, and then there's always a killer. So I don't know. No,
Unfortunately,
Dang
the
it.
killer was in the house and
And took me
they
out.
found
Okay.
you and you're gone. So
Man,
Shavannah
so cold.
goes to the bonus round.
Wait,
Give it
what
up
else
for
was
Vanna.
on there?
Okay.
The cemetery. I bet the cemetery.
So you ready?
The
Yeah.
cemetery.
Number 2 was graveyard,
Dang it.
cemetery.
I would have
Number
won.
3 was the movie or drive-in theater.
Mm.
Number 4. So this one I was like, it was basement or cellar. And so where you can maybe find like so, but I would have probably took like if tool shed was on there, I would have definitely given that to you. Number 5 is closet.
The closet.
Yeah, that was whack. Number 6 is the bathroom or shower.
They
Number
ain't
7
outside
is
the house.
bedroom.
Who killer
places,
is on the loose in your house?
Yeah, I don't know.
That part.
And then last but not least was party. They go to a party.
Haunted house wasn't on there at all. That's ridiculous. I am down.
I'm surprised Haunted House wasn't on there.
Me too.
But
all right, Vanna, are you ready for fast money? So now you want to get the number 1 answer to get the most points you can, Vanna. Okay, I'm going to keep your score and let's see if you can get 200 points. All right,
Lord.
You ready?
As ready as I'm gonna be.
All righty. Can somebody time Kelly? Can you give me 30 seconds?
How many questions?
Perfect.
Lord,
Is it 5 or is it 6? It's 5. It's 5 questions.
5 questions. I got it, y'all. Money. Even though I ain't getting none, AP.
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Start the time, Kelly.
Give me my question.
Go. All right. Name a house that you never want to be in.
What? A house that you never want. A she shed? I don't know.
Name something in a bakery a baker might call his wife.
A cupcake.
Okay. Something in a person's closet that only comes out on special occasions.
A coat. Oh.
If you could go to the land of Oz, what would you ask the wizard for?
That's time.
A heart.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the last one because I started late. Name something you might see a commercial for during a baseball game.
Hot dogs. I don't know. What?
I don't like that one. Hold on, I'll give you one more. Oh no.
I'm done. Family Feud. Yeah. What?
Okay, here we go. What's something you keep in your car just in case?
A first aid kit.
All righty. Okay,
I don't know.
First aid kit. That was 18 points. Did you answer the Land of Oz? What'd you answer?
I said a heart.
Heart. Oh, 16 points.
How many? 15?
You don't need 250. You don't need 200 points. You need 100. So you can get 100. All right. You said a coat comes out on special occasions. Unfortunately, nothing. You said cupcake for a baker might call his wife.
I said
that's
cupcake.
8 points.
What?
And last but not least, what house? Name a house you never want to be in.
That is just I'm done. All right, I didn't get my 100 points. I couldn't even.
Let's see if you got 50.
Don't want a 100 house. I guess I should have said that, right? That
27 points. I'm giving you that. Let's see if you cracked 50.
No, I didn't.
Good job, Shavannah. those are difficult.
That
That was horrible.
that was interesting. That's all I'm
That
gonna
was
say.
very.
You got 70 points, so you passed 50. You
job.
didn't quite get 100. And I forgot it's 2 people to equal 200 points. So
Oh, okay.
good job.
Well,
Good
well,
job. You
thank
didn't get
you
the
guys for playing
$20,000,
with us.
but you
Yes,
get
that was
70
fun.
times whatever.
That was fun, y'all. That was fun.
That was interesting.
That was
Thank
fun.
you guys so much. That was fun. That was cool.
It was definitely fun. So again, shout out to y'all for being our first guest here.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing the information and giving us your time.
Great, for real.
Man, what's we at the end of October, so we're coming back November 11th, I believe it is. So the second Thursday, y'all.
Oh yeah. Dang. Wow.
Yeah, we at the end of the month.
What are we
y'all.
talking? Are we talking young people? Are we talking our
Yeah,
young people?
young folks.
Yeah, yo peoples.
Yo, peoples. Yeah, we talking all about how we can engage, interact, and what's happening with the young folks.
Ask them about the COVID vaccine.
Yep.
Hey, that's a plug.
Big
That's a
facts.
question.
Big facts.
Ask about the COVID vaccine. So yeah, that's what we talking, y'all. So keep tuning in to Kicking It for a Cause. Y'all know how we do. We bring in the fun. We're bringing the information. We always got the community. Yeah. Shout out to my crew, Kelly and Alan. Is there anything else, my folks? No?
Don't forget, the Slate Job Fair is coming up. The next one is actually on Tuesday, the 2nd, November 2nd. So this Tuesday coming up, you got some Nurses Home Healthcare, GT Ventures, Bon Appetit, ESS, Del Mar Gardens, By State, City of St. Louis, Clean Tech, and Walmart. That's this Tuesday. So
Yep.
I'll make sure I post it and share it on my page. Share it and let folks know. There it goes right there.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
sharing is caring.
Aaron is Karen. I did have one
Happy
thing
holidays.
on.
And I saw someone had a Christmas tree up. Like someone's Christmas tree is up right now.
Yeah,
Like, come on, you guys.
Yeah, this is that
Is
time.
anybody else's Christmas tree up right now?
No.
That's a random question.
No, but in retail they can start it.
Oh, there's holiday music coming November
They can
1st.
start it.
I'm not ready.
they
I'm
can
not ready. I don't start my holiday music until December 1st.
December 1st.
So real quick,
No.
y'all, there was one thing I did want to mention. Saturday, Planned Parenthood of St. Louis actually hosting a conversation with prosecuting attorney for the city of St. Louis, Kimberly Gardner, to really see how her work intersects with reproductive justice. So, I'm posting the flyer for that on the 314 Evolve platform. So check that out if you're interested. It should be interesting conversation because I want to hear how that goes and see how her work relates to such an important topic.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope that's happening. Real quick too, the Hood Talks podcast is still looking for our storytelling guests. We got 3 more slots left for that $50.
$50.
Hello, $50.
Yes, $50, y'all. I'm trying to get this money out of here. But yes, we still have 3 slots left for $50. Come tell your story. You got a couple of forms to fill out in the process, and that's it. And you literally get y'all $50. And you get to be on a dope podcast. Yes. So tap into the Hood Talks podcast. www.thehoodtalks.com. All right, that's it, y'all. We out.
Thank
y'all
you,
have
ladies,
a good night.
again.
Be safe this Halloween weekend. Make sure you check your kids' candy, and stay warm and all that good stuff.
Stay safe. Wear your mask on top of your other masks.
Yes,
on top of your mask.
Even
Stay
if
safe
you
out
got
there
the
and get vaccinated.
Safe,
Hopefully, folks are passing out resources during trunk or treats.
Yes.
Get vaccinated.
Literally mask, not just the Halloween mask, but
yeah.
All right, y'all. We are out. Y'all have a good weekend, and we'll see y'all November 11th. Share it. Make sure y'all share it. Kicking It for a Cause. We bringing all the conversations, community, and all that good stuff.
Yes. Take care, y'all.